Peace, family. Black Jesus checking in, the ambassador to the streets. Back to drop more jewels about the music business. RBI, real business information. Music biz one-on-one, family. This particular video right here, we're going to be talking about how can you tell if the record is mixed and mastered or the engineer just raised the volume. Pretty much we're going to be chopping it up about mix and mastering, the difference, and when you know somebody just turned up the volume. And let me start off this video by saying loud doesn't necessarily mean mix and master. One thing that I've noticed about most engineers that engineer hip-hop genre in general is a lot of bass heavy music. So pretty much the engineer just turn up the bass and that's pretty much it, man. They don't really mess with the highs. They don't really mess with the mids. It's all about the lows and the bass. So I want you guys to understand that, you know, just because we're involved in our genre, that it's a big music scene, is global. So you want a global sound. You just don't want to be in a box. And sometimes some of our engineers, they think that they're doing the right thing because, you know, they figured out how to mix and master, play with a little software. So, you know, they want to do everything in-house. And I get it. You want to cut costs. You want to do the cheapest thing you could do in order to get that record off. But I'm telling you, man, when the professionals hear that record, and we do a lot of conference calls, and over the years, you know, we've done over 100 and some conference calls, the Celebrity DJ Academics and now my all-star panel, and we've been at this thing for a while. You know, it's about like 5, 6, almost 10 years in it. And even on the phone, man, when you're dealing with your major artists, and your mid-level and your independent artists, you definitely can tell even on the phone the quality of the record. And the thing about it is you want to compete. You know what I'm saying? Like, you want, when your record come on in the club and it play next to a major artist, you want that record to compete with that artist. You don't want the sound to fall off at all. You want to continue to grow. You want to continue to grind. So I just had to put this video out to let everybody know that even though you mess with certain engineers, that when they turning up the volume on the record, that doesn't mean necessarily that they get into the fabric of that record and they mix it and they master and they pulling up sounds and EQing, because what you have to understand is that when the record is mixed and mastered right and all the mids, the highs, the lows and all that flows together, it does something to your soul, man. It just touches that person who's listening to it, the fan. So you gotta definitely respect the fans when we get into the studio and we start cleaning up some of these records. And I always say that even when you leave the studio, that does not necessarily mean that that session is over. Now it's time for the professionals to do what they supposed to do for that record, the mixing, the mastering. You know, just get into the fabric of that song. You know, sometimes they want to add the drops in, the slowdown. Now they putting the body of the song together, because the artist, the MC, the FemC, the R&B singer, we only go into the studio and put down the skeleton of the song. So now after we done with our vocals, which is the skeleton of the song, now it's time for the real work for that structure of that song to be done. And the engineer have a big hand to play in that. So you don't want to play with your records. You want to make sure that the sound is right, the quality is right, and not just turning up the volume, because when you put it next to a major artist and your record don't come across as that, you really can tell about the quality of that sound. And just because you mess with your homeboys or your homegirls, that does not necessarily mean you're going to get that industry sound. So you might have to pay a little bit more. You know, you might have to step outside of your comfort zone to get the real professionals that mix and master. And I'm telling you, that's the important part of working one song, because you put all your resources into that song. So now you know exactly what to do when you work an album, because that album is magnified now by that singer. So now you have to do that for 12 songs in order to make the album big. So that's important for starting off with just working one record. But we're talking about mixing, we're talking about mastering, and the difference in just turning up a record. So be real particular about who you choose as your engineer, who you choose to put your sound together after you leave the studio, to make sure that record is big. You want to be all about making big records. So just keep that content 100. Look for great engineers, look for great producers, look for great people outside of just your homeboy and your section, and let the professionals do what the professionals do. And that is the difference in between a song and a hit record. Had to drop the jewels, man. RBI, real business information. Y'all know how it is. Like this video, share this video, hit that notification button. Let's communicate. Let's chop it up, man. Rallo Gesus back. Oh, man, I just love doing this, man. Rallo Gesus, man. Dropping jewels, man. That's what I do, man. Until the next video, y'all. Peace.